Welcome class. This is the first in a series of videos that I want to use to give you short examples of things. This is Professor Price. I have just already launched Eclipse on my local machine. When it starts up, it tells you to select a workspace. I'm just going to use the basic workspace that it gives me. So Java is launching here. What we're going to do is just a simple Hello World program, and then we are going to modify it to add some string input, and then in future videos I will continue to make some additions to that program. Alright, so when it starts up, you're going to probably see nothing here. If you're familiar with Visual Studio, here on the left is the Package Explorer, where I can see all the programs that I have done, which is similar to the Solution Explorer in Visual Studio. So I am going to start a new Java project, and we're going to call it First Java. All right. You don't have to worry about anything else here. Just let it go to finish. That message that came up had to do with some Android programming that I'm trying to play around with, so you probably won't see that. So when it launches here, we've got basically a blank space. Here is the project that I set up here, First Java. Everything in Java is based on a class. And so you want to right-click on your project here, and we're going to say set up a new class. And I'm going to call this class Simple IO because we're going to do some simple input and output in it. Now, the other thing that you need to keep in mind is there always has to be a main. Program execution starts with main. And you can type in the header for main, but it's a little difficult sometimes to remember exactly what it needs to look like. And so if you check this box, then Eclipse will set up the header for your main. So that's always useful. You're only going to have one class that has a static main method in it. So here's what I meant. It's going to give me my class, and here's my main method. So you see, you have to know exactly how to type this in, so best to let Eclipse do it for you. Now, one thing that I like to do, class, is you see the style of indenting that Eclipse uses, which is starting the bracket over here. I actually like to make my indents look like this, so I can be really clear about beginning and endings of things. And I'm going to put a comment here so I can remember that that's the end of my main and this is the end of my class, because everything has to go within the class. All right, so our initial program is just going to be a simple Hello World program. And so that means we need some simple output. So we're going to use system.out.println hello world. All right, now, one thing to notice here, there are some things that need to be capitalized in Java, so the S here in system must be capitalized. Println, LN, is going to put an enter key at the end of that sentence, as opposed to print, which I'll show you in a second here, which will not. So that's the difference between println and print. So let's say this is our program that we want to run. I'm just going to go right up here to the green button and run it, right? And down here in my console window, you will see the output that it just print to the console window, hello world. All right, so let's modify this and add some input. So what I would like to do is I would like to input a name and have the program say hello name, that person's name, instead of hello world. So to do this, we're going to use an input method called a scanner. So we're going to set up a scanner. You can name it whatever you want to name it, but remember, meaningful names help you to do your programming. So I'm going to call it input, and it's going to be a new scanner, and system.in is the keyboard, and so that's where it's going to come from. So I'm going to set up my scanner. And again, notice scanner is capital S. The name of it is going to be input equals new. This is how I instantiate a scanner object, system.in. Now you'll see the little red squiggly lines, which means Eclipse is not happy. Eclipse actually sort of compiles line by line. And so the problem is that scanner is in a library, basically, that we need to import. And so to make this happy, I need to import java.util.scanner. And now you'll see that everybody's happy here. All right, so let's get our input. Input a name. All right, so the first thing you want to do is prompt the user for what you want them to input, right? So we're going to say system.out.print, and I'm going to say print and not print line because I like the response to my prompt to be on the same line as my prompt. So there is my prompt. So now I want the user to type something in, and that input has to get stored somewhere, right? So we need a variable to store that. And so we're going to need a string variable. Again, notice the uppercase S in string, and I'm going to call this variable my name. So here, to receive that input, I'm going to say my name equals input, which is the name of my scanner, dot next line. So there's several different methods associated with the scanner, and next line will read basically all string input until you have an enter key. All right, so now here's my output, and instead of saying hello world, I want to say hello, and I want to concatenate, which means I use the plus symbol to concatenate that, and what is in the variable my name. Okay, so there's my complete program here. Let's test this out. All right, so if we put in, if I put in prof p, now notice it says hello prof p, but you see there's no space there. So if I want a space there, I have to put a space inside of the quotes here. You can put as many spaces as you want to around here. That's not going to make any difference. So let's retest this and see if that fixes that little issue. And so now you see that what I get is hello concatenated with the name. And whatever name I type in, if I run it again, if I type in Joe Cool, then I get hello Joe Cool. All right, so that is using scanner to input string data. Next video we will talk about inputting numeric data. All right, see you then.